We are live on the Bullpen Podcast. Welcome in. I am your host, Chris Krogman. You can find me at Shy Bears 1985 on the Twitterverse. Joined by my main man, as always, Adam Kunos at Kunos19, Kunos. 19. I don't know what the 19's for. It's not how old he is, although he looks it on some days. We are on Twitter. You can follow the show at the Bullpen Pod. We're sponsored by Fanatics. You can head on over there, get all your 2022 Little League Classic gear, including hats and collectibles. Also, all your City Connect gear, all your Field of Dreams gear, and all your regular team gear. So go support your squad. Use our link in our link tree on our Twitter. Get yourself a little discount. Make us some affiliate money. Thank you. Please and thank you. We need to feed our children or Adam's cats.
Cats.
Adam, we'll wait for your water break. How are you?
I am doing good. The Sox have given me a little hope. It reminds me at the end of Rogue One where Princess Leia gets the Death Star plans and she says, hope. The Sox have given me hope. I hope that this is the turnaround that I've been waiting for. I hope this turns around the season, and I hope that they're playing better down the stretch.
Well, as we are both Bears fans, Bears writer Adam Hogue has multiple times said throughout the year, this is the turning point. This is the turning point. This is the turning point. So he said he wouldn't say that anymore. But is this the turning point, Adam?
You know, I think this could be a turning point because they did have a team meeting, and after this team meeting, they have knocked off 5 straight wins, including a sweep of the Kitty Cats up in Detroit and 2 over the Trash Toes.
The Tigers don't count. You should have been beating those teams anyway.
This comes off losing 3 or 4 to Kansas City in Kansas City.
Yeah, see? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm doing good, though. I'm doing good.
The wins over the Astros were big. They were – I watched – or not watched, but I box score watched one of them, and they were down like 3-1 or 3-2 and then came back on 4-3. So that was good to see. Dylan Cease is obviously still amazing. Johnny Cueto has been the best bargain baseman pickup of the season for any squad. So that was definitely an upgrade over Kushel or Keuchel, as they call him. Which
exactly.
That's not how you say that name, dude. I don't care what you pronounce your name. It's Kushel or Keuchel. That's C anyway. All right.
Exactly.
So yeah, we've had some things happen in the last week in the baseball major leagues, and we're going to talk about them. So we'll start with our regular first segment, the weekend recap, which, as we mentioned last week, Adam and I are getting much better at this. We have our crystal ball aligned. Adam went and got a new Magic 8 ball and had it calibrated. His cat rubs it with its paw, and then all of a sudden we can predict baseball wins. So, Adam, the first series was the Brewers of Milwaukee versus the Cardinals of St. Louis. You had the Cardinals winning 2-1. I had the Cardinals winning 2-1. And sure as shit, the Cardinals won 2-1. Give us a breakdown of how that went.
They did. Cardinals take game 1, 3-1. Brewers come back, take game 2, 3-2. Then the Cardinals just double up the Brewers in game 3, 6-3. The main storyline from this series was Pujols had 2 home runs in the series finale. Career home run 688 and 689 puts him 11 away from 700 home runs. So with less than almost about a month and a half left in the season, if he hits 11 home runs, he can reach that magical number of 700 that only 3 have reached in baseball history, Babe Ruth and Barry Bonds.
I'm going to say no chance in hell.
I was actually thinking about that, and I'm going to agree with you on that. I don't think he gets 700. I think he ends up maybe with like 696.
Like 11 home runs in a month is hard. That's one every 3 days,
It is.
or a little bit more than that. And that's hard. I mean, it's possible. Don't get me wrong. And guys go on those kind of tears. We've seen 14, 15, probably 19 home runs in a month, especially during like the steroid era. But man, 11 home runs in a month, man. I mean, you hit. It's a 6-month season. You hit, 60 home runs. That's 10 a month, and that's like what like Judge is on pace for. And I'm sorry, but Albert Pujols is not Aaron Judge anymore, or he's not Albert Pujols of days of yore. So I don't see it happening. I would love to see him play next year until he gets there, because 700 is a big milestone. But man, a whole nother offseason, a whole nother spring training. We'll see. Hopefully he gets there, because that's a really cool milestone. Like I said, I think like A-Rod is at like 698 or something stupid close.
Let me look up the career home run list. Yeah, I don't think he gets there. I think he falls up maybe 5 or 6 short. So I think he gets maybe like 695, maybe 696. The schedule for the Cardinals is pretty favorable. They are facing some teams with some not so great pitching down the stretch. But if he does somehow miraculously pull off 11 home runs, how good of a storyline is that can be to close out his career?
Amazing storyline to close out his career. Going to St. Louis, where he spent a lot of his career, playing actually fairly well this year. Getting through the first round of the home run derby. Although people may say that might have been a fix, but I'm not one of those guys, because I like Pujols.
Yeah,
he did it all on his own. Even man, he's got the body type though to for me to question his integrity. But I won't say anything, because he never got caught, and neither did Griffey and anybody else. So not anybody else, but you know what I mean. Anyway,
so here's the career list. Barry Bonds obviously has 762. Henry Aaron has 755. Babe Ruth has 714. A-Rod has 696. And Pujols has 689. And Willie Mays has 660. We'll run up the top 10. Griffey has 630. Jim Thome has 612. Sammy Sosa, 609. And Frank Robinson has 586.
Wow. The fact that Griffey missed so much time and is still in that top 10 is pretty awesome for me. I mean, I'm a huge Ken Griffey fan, and we're going to talk about him a little bit later during the Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dream of Field something. Man,
Dreams of Field. Dreams of Field.
Well, Bears fan, dreaming of Justin Fields, maybe that's where I'm at. I'm just joking.
That's where my head's right now, because I'm talking with my boss at work about Bears football, and that's like we broke down game 1 ourselves, but again, different podcast, different time.
Yeah, catch me on the other podcast, BIM_pod on Twitter. Anyway, we won't get into that. But second game, Baltimore Orioles at the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. We're going to bring it back, because Tampa needs to get nasty over these last 6 weeks to secure their playoff spot. Game 1, Orioles won. First off, predictions. We both had Tampa Bay winning two games and losing 1 game. So the first game, the Orioles beat the brakes off the Rays. Prediction not looking good, 10-3. Second game, Rays come back, win 5-2. Game 3, Rays win 4-1. And Drew Rasmussen. If you guys want Adam to pronounce that, please hit him up on Twitter. He'll do a little video cameo for you, $10
exactly,
and pronounce something.
There will be something besides water in that cup when I do that.
He took a perfect game into the 9th inning, lost it on a double by Jorge Mateo in the top of the 9th on the very first pitch. But Rasmussen had a great game. Last perfect game was on August 15th of 2012 by King Felix Hernandez of the Seattle Mariners versus the same Tampa Rays. Adam, where are we at with Tampa? I totally botched the first game. The NL Central standings, St. Louis is 2 games behind Milwaukee currently, but we'll talk about standings a little bit later in depth. So Tampa, where do they stand currently? Where's Baltimore at? Are we going to get to that, an entire division over 500 like we talked about earlier in the season?
I don't think we'll get an entire division over 500 because Boston is kind of struggling to stay above sea level. If you want to go that far, they're sitting at 58, 59, game under 500. Baltimore is 61 and 56. Tampa Bay is currently in second place, 62 and 53. Toronto's really close behind them, 62 and 54. Tampa has Toronto by percentage points in the division. I mean, it's possible that if Boston can somehow finish the season strong, they could finish at 500. There's that slim possibility, but they have been up and down the entire way. Let's start again. They came out the gate incredibly slow, just losing pretty much every single series to start the season. Then they catch fire. Then they're talking to top wild card seed. Then they fall off the wagon again. Then they jump back. They kind of bounce back and forth. This division has been dominated by New York since the beginning, and they've kind of hit a little rut lately. They had a double-digit lead for the longest time. They're now down to a 9-game lead over Tampa. New York's lost 3 in a row, 2 and 8 in their last 10. Tampa's won 4 in a row, 6 and 4 in their last 10. Toronto 3 and 7 in their last 10. Baltimore's playing 500 ball at 5 and 5, and so is Boston.
Boston's won 2 in a row, though.
They have. Boston's won 2 in a row.
Totally joking. I think Boston's pretty much dog water. I mean, they are 500, but close. I mean, they're 1 game under.
This division has been more competitive than I thought it was going to be. Just the fact that Baltimore decided, we want to have fun. Let's join the party. And they jumped in, and they've been in the wild card race since they went on that tear they had a couple weeks ago. And they've jumped over 500. They haven't looked back. They got a nice young core on that team. Who would have thought that trading away all of your veteran players would spark your team to just absolutely tear it up on the field and jump back into a very tight AL wildcard race?
So they dealt Mancini and Jorge Lopez out of the bullpen? That's the only 2 that they dealt, right? Okay. I mean, not that they had a whole lot of pieces to move around anyway. So yeah, Baltimore's partying. That's a good race, a good division. Yankees have kind of fallen on their face. They have hit that injury bug part of the season, but 72 and 45. They no longer have the best record in the American League. That now belongs to Houston. Let's see here. Are we covering the AL West at all? We should talk about that. No, we'll talk about that during the Rangers. Oh, and we have Houston later. All right. So, so jumping back to the NL Central, since I am a shit host and totally skipped over that section. Cardinals in Milwaukee. We talked about the Cardinals. Took 2 out of 3 from Milwaukee last weekend. Cardinals are currently 7-3 in their last 10 and on a 2-game winning streak. Milwaukee sits 2 games back in the division, 1.5 back in the wild card. They're 5-5, won 1 in a row. The Cubs are 15.5 back in the division, 15 back in the wild card. Cincinnati's terrible. Pittsburgh is terrible. This race will come down to St. Louis and Milwaukee. It's going to be interesting to see if St. Louis can get this gap bigger. I'm going to just look real quick. St. Louis head-to-head versus Milwaukee is almost 500. They're 8-7. So it's going to come down to those 2 teams. Adam, where's your money right now if you were a gambling man? in this Central Division?
If I were a gambling man, I would have to place my money on St. Louis, just for the fact that they have Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado at the corners of that infield, and Goldie has been playing lights out of lately. So Arenado has been on a little bit of a tear as well. I just like the offense better in St. Louis than Milwaukee. I honestly do. I think St. Louis has a better offense. Their pitching is a little better. You can't go wrong with Wainwright at the helm of the St. Louis rotation. He's been kind of like that. He's been kind of carrying that rotation for a while. It kind of has some up and down years, but I just kind of like how St. Louis has been playing. They have a run differential of 80 versus Milwaukee's 32. St. Louis sits at 38 and 21 at home. A little bad on the road. They're only sit 26 and 30 on the road, but I just like St. Louis. I just like St. Louis better. I had to place my money on St. Louis to claim the NL Central, which is shocking because I know I picked Milwaukee at the beginning of the season to win the NL Central.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you there. You're the Cardinals and Brewers are pretty close in earned runs against per game. So combined bullpen and starters, Milwaukee's 3.7 runs a game. St. Louis is 3.83. Was going to look at team runs per game. Runs per game. So St. Louis is at 4.7 runs a game, while Milwaukee's at 4.5. Not that big of a difference. It's pretty close. But as far as run differential, currently the Cardinals hold a plus 80 differential, while the Brewers are at a plus 32. Expected win-loss, St. Louis holds the edge there as well by about 5 games. So we'll see if Milwaukee can figure it out. Like I said earlier in the year, I thought they kind of punted when they traded Hader, but I don't know. I guess it's a move that if you don't think you're going to re-sign him and you have a Devin Williams, it's possible to just move on. So here we are in that race. It'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Moving on to the final series of the weekend, the Philadelphia Phillies were at the New York Mets. I had Mets going 2-1. Adam had them 3-0. Mets won the series 2-1. They did not win the game or lose the game I expected them to. They actually won the first game or lost the first game 2-1. It was an interesting game. It was 1-1 most of the game. Went extras. The Phils were able to get a what do I want to say? Oh, so yeah, so no, it was 1-0 most of the game, and then the Phillies had a sac fly to 1-1. Top 9, Mets sac fly to left. It was a short fly ball. Phillies caught it and nailed the runner at home plate. So went to extras. Phillies had the same thing, fly ball right field. Marte nailed the throw. Catcher couldn't hold on to it. Phillies score, go up 2-1. That was the end of the game. Mets win the next two, 1-0 and 6-0. Jake DeGrom picks up win number 2. 6 innings pitched, 10 Ks, 2 hits, no walks. Chris Bassett win 10, 5 innings pitched, 5 Ks, 2 hits, 2 walks. Mets at the time had an 11.5 game lead, now have a 10-game lead and a 3.5 game lead over Atlanta after losing the last 2 to them the last 2 nights, and they're playing right now. Mets up 4-1. Obviously, you're going to get more info about the Mets and Sox on this podcast, so deal with it.
Exactly.
Adam, the current standings in the NL East, the Mets hold like I said, 3.5 game lead over the Braves, who have a 7-game lead in the wild card. Philadelphia has the 3rd spot in the NL East. They are 10 games back in the wild card. but hold a half game lead in the wild card for the second spot over San Diego. Yeah, San Diego has 2 more losses. Okay. Miami's in 4th, and Washington stopped fielding a team after they traded Soto. So Miami, though, can't score for shit. Although, like, we've talked about the Dodgers' run differential in the positive. The Washington Nationals have a minus 212 run differential.
Ooh.
By far the worst in baseball, by like 60 runs. The Pirates are minus 163. Washington is just bad. So I guess, Adam, we're obviously, somebody's going to win this division. Somebody's going to be the first wild card, most likely. Do you think Philadelphia can hold on to that second wild card spot, or could we see Milwaukee or San Francisco sneak in there?
I mean, it's possible. I'm looking at the standings right now, and the Mets and the Braves, when you break down their home away, they're pretty identical records. New York's 40-19 at home, Atlanta's 39-22 at home. On the road, New York's 35-23, Atlanta's 33-24. The run differential is only a 2 different run differential, 116 to 114 for these 2 teams.
Let's look at that that record against teams above 500 there, Adam. What does that look like?
Oh, yeah, the Mets have a much better record against 500. Teams better at 500, 37-28. Atlanta's under 500 with that retrospective, 26-27. But to answer your question of Philadelphia, it could be possible that if Milwaukee does play, maybe they play 500 baseball down the stretch and Philadelphia kind of slips, Milwaukee can slip in to that wild card spot. Do we see a repeat in San Diego? Do the Padres absolutely collapse like they did last year and fall out of the wild card spot? Does San Francisco make a late charge into that wild card spot? I mean,
the interesting thing about San Diego is after trading for Soto, they've been kind of terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at their last 10. They're 5-5. In their last 10, they're playing Washington right now. So they had a little bit of they went to Washington. So Soto had a quick homecoming back to Washington after being dealt. Then they're hosting Washington. But San Francisco, the team that we thought that obviously last year just ran away with runs and kind of held it close to a division title over the Dodgers last year, they're kind of starting to play a little better. They're sneaking back into the wild card race. They're game and a half back. They're 5 games back of the final wild card spot, so 3.5 behind Milwaukee. I don't know. I mean, if you want chaos in the wild card races, you're going to get complete chaos in the wild card races coming down the next couple weeks.
I like chaos.
Oh, chaos is absolutely fabulous.
Mandatory chaos. I think, San Diego is under 500 since trading for Soto. They have lost to – they got swept by the Dodgers. That's tough. They played the Giants and did okay. Took 2 out of 3 in that one. Took 2 out of 3 from Washington, but they lost 2 out of 3 to the Marlins. And like I said, the Marlins are bad. They're super bad. So it'll be interesting. They have Washington for 4 again. Jeez Louise. And then they get Cleveland, Kansas City, shitty team. San Francisco will be tough. Dodgers will be tough. Arizona's played them tough. Dodgers, Seattle, Arizona, St. Louis, Colorado, Dodgers, They play the White Sox at the end of September, and then they finish with the Giants. So we'll see. Lots of baseball left. I mean, shit, that was probably like 35 games I just rattled off. So we'll see if San Diego can what.
It sounded like 35 games. That's a lot of baseball still left to be played.
Yeah, about 10 series left. That'll be fun. So, yeah, I think the Phillies hold on personally. They're playing much better baseball, especially since they changed their manager and all that with firing Girardi quite a while back. But we'll switch gears now. We'll circle back on some of this stuff, but we'll have a little fun and talk about the Field of Dreams game last Thursday night on Fox. If you were able to catch it, it was pretty amazing. Adam, were you able to watch that? I feel like this was set on your DVR if you weren't, or you were glued to your TV.
I did get a chance to catch it. I kind of jumped in around the third inning, so I kind of went back and watched the pregame ceremonies. I mean, it's just another fantastic game out in Iowa. The sequel kind of didn't really live up to what the original was, but it was still just a great game to watch. You had Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr. Lead the teams out in the cornfield. They reenact have a catch scene from the end of the movie Field of Dreams. You got kids playing catch on the field, and all of a sudden you get the Cubs and Reds walking onto the field. Something they did a little different this year, they had legends from both teams walk onto the field. So you had Billy Williams, Andre Dawson, Fergie Jenkins, Ryan Sandberg, and Lee Smith of the Cubs, along with Griffey, Barry Larkin, Johnny Bench, all walking out with the players. And then Kevin Costner paid a tribute to Ray Liotta, who plays Shoeless Joe Jackson in the movie. Obviously, Ray Liotta passed away.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Absolutely, such a wonderful actor. Go look up his discography with his filmography. A lot of good movies that he's been in. Give you a little breakdown of the game. Cubs opened up the game with 3 in the first off a Suzuki double. Nico Homer singles, drives a Suzuki. Ian Happ doubles. Nick Madrigal gave the Cubs a 4-run lead. Matt Reynolds of the Reds doubles, scores Barrio and Farley of the Reds. Cubs end up winning 4-2. So the city of Chicago is 2-0 in Iowa. If you want to take in total city statistics.
I do not care.
I know you don't care. As someone who's from Chicago, I will take that with great pride because we don't get a lot in Chicago. Let's just be
You better own Iowa. It's right next door, and they don't have any pro sports. So
they got the Iowa Cubs AAA team. That's the closest.
Yeah, I was gonna say like they're you got to have nothing but Chicago fans in Iowa. Maybe some Twins folks up in the northeast section of Iowa, but yeah, you're good for the city of Chicago. Again, I do not care.
Overall, great atmosphere again. I think MLB did a fantastic job with these two teams. The uniforms that they were wearing were just spot on. They even had the helmets to retrofit with the same caps.
That was cool.
I mean, if you're an apparel collector, you're definitely going out and buying at least the jerseys or the hats to keep as collectibles. Because
I'm buying a helmet. I'm getting a helmet because that was
with
cool.
The 3D logo. Yeah.
No, actually, I'm not. But the coolest part for me was the Joey Votto interview. He actually almost gave the same interview that he did pregame, talking about his dad getting him into the game and how they used to play catch every night when he was 8 to 9 years old, and then seeing the movie and all the feels, all the sentiment of being a professional baseball player. His dad passed away a while back, so he just told a really cool story about being a big leaguer and everything like that. So he was mic'd up for I think 2 innings. So that was really neat to hear him talk about it. I think he got IL'd for the rest of the year, I believe. So happy to see that he was able to play in that game and give that interview. So that was one cool thing for me. I had, man, Nick Lodolo just got hammered right away. That kid can throw, and he strikes out a lot of people typically, but Cubs got to him early and just never looked back. But the Reds have some good young talent, especially on the mound. We'll see if their bats can catch up over the next few years. They made some big deals at the break, getting rid of Castillo. They've made some big deals over the past few years with some trades. So we'll see if the Reds can catch up. That NL Central, since we talked about the top half, didn't really get to talk about the Cubs. Good prospects, top 10 farm system in baseball. Cincinnati, like I mentioned, has some good young arms coming up already here, and they're playing their young guys. They have Jonathan India. They have Barrero, as Adam mentioned or tried to.
I was close.
That was close. That was better than that's okay. So, yeah, the NL Central could be in for a shift over the next few years. I think St. Louis is going to be good for a while, just with that veteran presence. But Pittsburgh, man, I'm excited to see Pittsburgh over the next few years with Bryant at third and O'Neal Cruz, and then the kid they just drafted fourth overall that I can't remember is supposed to be really good as well. So I'm excited to watch the Pirates and the Reds and Cubs all start to get back into this. But yeah, Field of Dreams game. Like Adam and I mentioned last week, construction will make the game impossible next year. But apparently the ratings were really bad this year. Not really bad, but a lot lower than last year. So we'll see if it continues past this season or past next season, I should say. But yeah, it's a fun experience. I would hate to see it not continue after they build that ballpark. If you build it, they'll come for a couple of years.
Exactly. I honestly hope they continue with this series. I mean, I hope they mix in a couple different teams. You would love to see some of the original teams play over there, like get the Red Sox over there, get the Pirates over there, the Cardinals, even Baltimore over there, since Baltimore did have a franchise back in 1901 before they moved to New York in 1903. But mix it in with some newer clubs too. You get some young talent out to that field, and I honestly hope they continue with it. It'd be a shame if they don't do that again in 2024.
Absolutely. It's yeah, it'd be silly. So
yeah.
Anyway, sentiments are over. Go watch Field of Dreams. If you didn't watch it that day, you should have, because it's a good movie. Ray Liotta and James Earl Jones, and of course Kevin Costner. So, Adam, what else is shaking in the major leagues of baseballs?
Well, the Texas Rangers had some major shakeups in their manager and their front office. So first, they parted ways with manager Chris Woodward. Under Woodward, they went 211 and 297. Their best finish under him was back in 2019, where they went 78-84, ended up finishing third in the AL West, but since then have been fourth, fifth, doghouse of the AL West. But Tony Beasley will take over as interim manager for the rest of the season. And then today, they parted way with John Daniels as president of baseball operations. GM Chris Young will inherit baseball operation duties. Daniels has been a part of the organization dating back to 2002, so he's been with the team for about 20 years now. He was part of the Rangers when they went the back-to-back World Series back in 2010, 2011. If you don't remember, in 2011, they were one strike away from winning the franchise's first World Series against the Cardinals. Cardinals walk off Game 6 and go on to win Game 7. They won back-to-back division titles a couple years later in 15 and 16. We didn't really know what to think of the Rangers at the start of the season. They brought in Corey Seager. free agency. They brought some good, talented team. Marcus Semien, they brought in him. Not really going the way they would hope to down in Texas. They're playing a very top-heavy division with Seattle and Houston. I don't know what they were expecting from this team this year. Obviously, they weren't going to be competing for an AL West title. Maybe a wild card as an outside chance. But
I thought it was weird that they made trades last year to be sellers and then went out as big buyers in the offseason. So I thought that was a little strange. Man, the Rangers team that I really liked is like, I'm gonna age the hell out of myself, but like Ivan Rodriguez, Julio Franco, Juan Gonzalez, that early '90s Texas Rangers team with like just bats on bats on bats. And the Rangers, honestly can't think of being very good. I mean, winning the AL titles in 11 and 12, I can't honestly say that I remember very well. So, or remember who was on those teams. But they spent money. So obviously they want to win and will give it a go. So we'll see how it shakes out in Texas if these changes make a big difference. I don't think they're going to make a big difference this year. They're not going to crawl out of. Well, I mean, they're in third. They're 10 games back of a wild card spot in a pretty hard American League, and they're 12 games under 500. Yeah, they're not coming out of that. So,
well, the Rangers are interesting. They didn't really get good until the late. I'm going to age the hell out of myself. Going back with a little stats here, they didn't win their first AL West until '96. They won AL West titles in 96, 98, 99, 2000. Then obviously 2010, 2011, they obviously win the pennant. So they were kind of irrelevant for the first decade of the 2000s. For half of the 2010s, they were pretty decent, and then they kind of fell off again. So the Rangers have had this good again, off again, good again, off again success throughout their franchise history. So, but yeah, I go back to the team in the 90s, especially that 96 team. Rodriguez behind the plate. They're playing at the ballpark in Arlington, that nice stadium that they only played for 20 years. They just built a brand new stadium, so they built a stadium expected to win right away. I mean, Globe Life Field, I'll be at that field next weekend, so I can give you a better review of how that field looks. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Texas does in the offseason. If they go out and hire a brand new manager, if they keep Beasley on as a full-time manager moving forward, depending on how he finishes out the season, how the players like him, and just how close they can get in that division or even the wild card is completely up to the team right now.
So we are 4 managers fired so far this year, right?
4.
The Angels, the Phillies, Toronto, and now the Texas Rangers. Are we going to see any more managers get fired this year, Adam?
Let me pull up the standings real quick and give you.
I mean, Oakland doesn't care.
Do you think AJ Hinch gets let go in Detroit after his first season?
I thought this was his second season, or maybe even third.
Boston. I mean, Alex Cora could be on the chopping block with that team just being up and down all season. Oakland, I don't think Oakland cares. I don't see Washington getting rid of Davey Martinez. I think they keep him on for a lot longer.
It's his second season in Detroit.
Season in Detroit?
Yeah, after 5 in Houston and 2 in Arizona.
Arizona maybe, but they've kind of been playing a little better of late. They're I don't see.
I was just saying Hinch was there. I don't think Arizona fires their manager.
No, I think they even extended Hinch on for one more season after this year, if I remember correctly. So,
Is Colorado's? Where the hell's Colorado? They should just fire him.
Colorado, yeah, they're sitting at the bottom of the NL West, so you could see a shakeup in Colorado at the end of the season.
They're another ownership group that just doesn't.
Well, they had bad management of Arenado. Then they go out and sign Chris Bryant to a mega deal. So, God knows what the hell they're doing in that front office.
Yeah, nobody knows. Most Rockies fans are not big supporters of the ownership group that's here in Colorado. All right. Well, the other massive news that came out this week. The first time I heard this was on like a friend put a tweet into a chat that I'm in, and it was from Fake Sports Center. And I was like, aha, you got busted, whatever, And then The Athletic reported it as well. But Fernando Tatis Jr. Has been suspended for 80 games after testing positive for cholesterol. Whatever. A performance-enhancing violation of the MLB Joint Drug Prevention and Treatment Program. That's a silly name for that. He's been out all season, obviously, after undergoing wrist surgery after his potentially second or third motorcycle accident. We still don't even know. Took a medication to treat ringworm that contained cholesterol inadvertently. So he says, so he can return next year. Suspension will count for the rest of 22 regular season and for any 2022 postseason games that the Padres are in, which I think is silly. I don't think those are essentially exhibition games, and you shouldn't get. But I guess on the flip side, I don't think they should count towards his suspension. But if they made the playoffs, he shouldn't get to play in those games either. So. But like you're banking new games that I don't know. It's a weird gray area for me. So currently Padres sit 65-52, second in the West, 16 games back at the Dodgers. They do have a half game. What? No, I think it's big.
I think it's a little bigger.
No, it's there. They hold the third. Yeah, the third.
They're a game and a half.
Game and a half.
They're a game and a half above Milwaukee.
Above Milwaukee, right. So yeah, like we talked about a little bit earlier, are the Padres going to be able to weather the storm? They went out and got Juan Soto. This has got to be a pretty big blow to Padres fans. If I'm a Padres fan, which I have connections to San Diego, so I was definitely, like if the Mets weren't going to get Juan Soto, Padres were, an awesome second for me because I have a lot of family that are Padres fans. My wife's a Padres fan. So was really excited for that team. Really excited to see Tatis come back. And then this happened. So, Adam, what's your feelings on this? What's your takes? Do you believe Tatis, in his cholesterol inadvertence? Did he just have too many hamburgers, or why does he have ringworm, bro? That's like from not bathing. That's kind of weird. Like, why do you have ringworm?
I don't know. Okay. Obviously, if you're a White Sox fan, you know the history of Tatis. With the White Sox organization as a prospect, we traded in San Diego for James Shield. Worst trade ever. End of story. I'm showing that goddamn book. Padres fans, get the hell over that trade. Whatever. I'm disappointed in Tatis Jr. because he was becoming the face of baseball. He was becoming the face of the league. He was one of the up-and-coming young players. He was making baseball exciting again with just his celebrations, the way he played the game, his finesse, just the way his attitude towards the game. And I am disappointed that he didn't know what he was taking to treat, again, ringworm. Come on. I'm more disappointed as a fan because I really did like Tatis Jr. I loved watching him play. Like, if I got a chance to catch him on TV playing, I always loved watching him play. I was sad when he was on the IL for the start of the season. I was hoping he'd come back to at least see what he could do with Juan Soto in this Padres lineup. I was excited to see the potential of this Padres team. And now we're not going to get to see that because at the end of the season, you don't know if Juan Soto's going to stay in San Diego or go sign a mass deal with some other team.
He's there for another 2.5. He's there for another 2 years after this.
Oh, is it 2 years? Okay, never mind then.
Yeah.
That
was one of the draws of trading for Soto is that he was
okay.
He's not even a free agent until after 2024.
Oh, that's damn. Good job, San Diego, on that trade.
Right.
Again, disappointed is how I feel right now as a baseball fan. It's just disappointing.
You're a little happy as a Sox fan, don't lie. I mean,
I'm ecstatic as a Sox fan because, yeah, I mean, again, I cannot go back and look at when this trade happened for Tatis and James Shield and say, like, 2022, he's going to be out for the whole season due to injury and suspension. Had I known that, I would have been peace out. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Right.
If I had a crystal ball at the time, which I don't.
We have one now, though.
Oh, I have a magic 8 ball which my cats knock around, and all they say is, they ask, will Adam feed me at the end of the day? And the answer is probably yes.
More than likely.
But can San Diego weather the storm? That is a very good question. They're kind of playing on thin ice right now with this. I mean, since trading for Soto, they've been, what do you say, under 500?
Yeah, like 2 games under, like 7-9 or something like that.
They're playing, they're 66-54, 60.5 back of the Dodgers. There's no way they're fucking catching Los Angeles in that division. They're playing.
Damn.
They're honestly playing for a wild card spot right now. They're playing for that top wild card spot in the NL to at least maybe get home field advantage for a quick 3-game series, because you don't want to be playing on the road in a wild card series, because that's just brutal to start with. I don't know. Bob Melvin has had a good track history with keeping teams in playoff races. Obviously, he's taken the Diamondbacks and Athletics to postseasons with pretty tight races. I think he could do the same with San Diego. I think they maybe still sneak into that third wild card. I think they slip to that third wild card spot.
Probably.
What do you think?
Probably.
You think that,
yeah, they probably do, unless they completely fall apart, which is totally possible. I mean, you saw it last year, but I think Bob Melvin's a good coach or a good manager, better than what they had previously. So I think that they can still be. I mean, they're still very talented even without Tatis. Machado and Eric Hosmer. They have a great staff with Musgrove, Cy Young candidate. Yu Darvish has been pitching extremely well. Blake Snell used to be really, really good. Now he's just kind of whatever. But Padres Padres are probably going to win. I'll say they're still going to win that third spot. But will they make some noise in the playoffs? It's going to be tough, man. I mean, they're probably going to have to travel east to New York or Atlanta, wherever, that happens. Padres are in a tough spot. I just feel disappointed in Tatis. If it was by accident, know what you're putting in your body, and if it was on purpose to try to heal faster, then, he supposedly wasn't that far away anyway, but maybe this is why. Just speculation. Obviously, I have no idea. So let's get into the weekend preview. and we'll get you, boys and girls. If you guys want to take these picks and go gamble, no, Adam's Magic 8 Ball's on fire. My crystal ball is pretty polished right now. So let's get into it. What's our first series, Adam?
A series that has become a little more interesting over the last week. The Chicago White Sox will be in Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Guardians. Currently, Cleveland leads Chicago by 1 game in the AL Central, along with Minnesota. So this race has become a very, very tight. Game 1, you got Lance Lynn versus McKenzie. Lynn's 3-5, had a good outing his last outing. McKenzie's 8-9, 3.14 ERA. Game 2, Johnny Cueto versus Shane Bieber. Cueto's 5-5 with a 2.78. Bieber's 8-6 with 3.18. Game 3, Dylan Cease 12-5, 2.09 ERA, and I'm gonna botch this name, so I'm pretty sure Chris is gonna give me a hard time. Savali is 2-5, 5.63 ERA. Thank you for the save on that one. I'm giving Chicago the 2-1 series win. I think Cleveland takes game 1. Lynn has been kind of up and down all season. Obviously missing a good chunk of the season with injury. He's come back. He has been better as of late. But anytime you get Cueto and Cease back-to-back days, those are just hard pitchers to hit around. Cueto has been like we said, an underdog signing for the White Sox this year. Got called up midway through the first half when he took over the position for Keuchel after he got designated for assignment. Cease has been a Cy Young candidate from day one. Just electric stuff from start to finish. He's striking out maybe 10 plus a game. Had a little bit of a rough outing against Houston. He faced up against Verlander, only went about 5 innings in that game. Yeah, but I'll give the White Sox a 2-1 series win over this one.
Yeah, I think these teams are pretty evenly matched. This is going to be, if you are going to check out this game, I would recommend game 2 on Saturday. Johnny Cueto, Shane Bieber is a Cy Young candidate. Maybe not a leader this year. He's still probably got like 10-1 odds or pretty far out there, or 100-1 odds maybe even. But that's only because there's so many good pitchers in the American League. So I really think this could go either way just because of who's pitching. Only in that, I think game 3 is a White Sox lock with Dylan Cease going. Trenton McKenzie has been pitching pretty well for Cleveland. And it being in Cleveland, I lean Cleveland on that first game. Cueto has, he's 5-5. And he's got a sub-3 ERA, but again, Shane Bieber is fantastic. So only because it's in Cleveland, I'm going to lean Cleveland winning those first 2 games, and then Chicago winning the third game, and we'll go 2-1 Cleveland.
All right, locked and loaded for that one. Chris, our next series is Blue Jays at Yankees. You want to give the breakdown of that one?
Absolutely. Yankees lead Toronto by 9.5 games in the AL East. This is in the Bronx. So game 1 will be Jose Barrios versus somebody with a 4-9 record and a 3.59 ERA. Nobody knows because Adam forgot to tell me. Let me guess. Let's see here.
Oh yeah, play the guessing game because I have the picture right here. So take a guess.
So I can see who the rest of them are. Is it that Domingo Germain kid?
Nope. I'm just gonna put it in, and you can hopefully see it.
Oh yeah, I forgot they traded for him. So Frankie Montas. That's not even fair. He hasn't even played there all year. That's probably his second start for them. Anyway, so Frankie Montas pitches for the Yankees. Kevin Gausman pitches game 2 for the Jays versus James Taillon. Kikuchi, game 3 for the Blue Jays versus Garrett Cole. And then Alek Manoah versus Nestor Cortez. Man, these pitching matchups are fun. Kikuchi's the only one who's absolutely terrible out of all these people. So, Adam, you went first. So I will say that this is going to be a straight split 2-2. Blue Jays win game 1, maybe even game 2, and then the Yankees win game 3. And man, Blue Jays might win 3. I'm still gonna go 2-2.
Yeah. So as I was looking at this matchup, obviously, like you said, the pitching matchups are just very intriguing from start to finish. Obviously, Kikuchi's the one pitcher for the Blue Jays I don't think doesn't face up well against New York. So I give New York the game 3 lock. I say that's a Yankee win. But Berrios, Gausman, and Manoah for the Blue Jays. Manoah is my pick for automatic Blue Jays win. 10-6, 2.71 ERA. He's going up against Cortez, who's been pretty good for the Yankees this year. 9-4, 2.74 ERA. So the ERAs are pretty identical on both sides of the team. I'm going to take Toronto 3-1. I'm going to give Toronto the series win just because of the pitching matchups.
I can see it. I mean, and also the Yankees have been struggling pretty bad, so I could definitely see a 3-1. But I feel like the Yankees got to bounce back sooner or later.
Yeah, and the Yankees have had it's a typical Yankee injury bug. They get this every year where they stay healthy for most of the season. Then obviously the injury bug kind of comes back and bites them in the ass towards later in the season. So, yeah, I'll give Toronto the 3-1 series win. And then our last series, Chris, we have a 2021 World Series rematch. The Houston Astros will travel to Atlanta to take on the Braves. Game 1, McCullers is going for Houston. Atlanta has yet to decide their Game 1 starter. Javier for Houston goes Game 2. Strider goes for Atlanta. Javier is 7-8 with a 2.96. Strider is 7.43, 0.4. And then to close out the series, Uruguay goes for Houston.
Who?
Shut up.
The country Uruguay is pitching for Houston now?
Shit. I'm not going to let that one down.
Uruguay.
Urquidy,
Urquidy?
11-4, 3.69 ERA. Charlie Morton finished up for the last 6-5, 4.04 ERA. So, if you've been following Houston the last couple days, they're in Chicago. They've blown leads to the White Sox the last 2 days and lost by 1 run. They're currently leading the Sox by 1 run, 3-2. Sox just got 2 back in the bottom of the 4th. Houston owns the best record in the American League. Atlanta's just been freaking hot of lately. They're winners of 8 straight. Winners of 8 straight, 8-2 in their last 10, 3.5 back of the Mets. I don't know. Maybe Houston can act a little revenge on Atlanta, but I think Atlanta's just too hot right now. I'm taking Atlanta with the 2-1. I say Atlanta takes the first 2 games and Houston salvages the series and avoids the sweep.
Yeah, if this was in Houston, I might feel different. It's interesting. Lance McCullers, this is his second game pitching for the year because he's been hurt. But Scott Strider for the Braves has just been ridiculous as a rookie, striking out everybody and their mother. I think I don't know if they're going to pitch Fried on Friday. I can't remember how they line up. I thought usually it's Strider, Morton, Freed, so it shouldn't be Max Fried shouldn't be pitching that game, so I can't remember who else they would throw out there. But I want to see Houston sweep them. Atlanta's due for a downfall, so I don't want to pick this series. I'll go 2-1 Houston just for shots and goggles. Don't bet on our picks this week. We don't know what we're talking about, or at least I don't. Adam's 8-ball might be working, but my crystal ball just fell off the table.
I mean, I think you got the series you talked about, I think you got 3 really good series. Obviously, 2 of these series could have the Chicago-Cleveland series could have division leading impacts when the series is said and done. Toronto could make up a little ground in the AL East and possibly the AL wildcard. And Houston can use this series to put some distance between them and Seattle. Atlanta could use this to gain some ground on New York. They're just good series across the board. We're getting into the point of the season to where we're getting into serious matchups who we didn't think would matter at the start of the season are now going to matter.
Big time.
Baltimore is going to be a huge factor going down. Chicago is going to be playing towards the end of the season. The AL Central itself is going to be a tight-knit race going down to the end of the season. I mean, the AL Central could be lucky if they sneak a wild card team in at the end of the season. Seattle is playing good. They're holding the top wild card spot right now by a full game over Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay and Toronto are just separated by a half a game. And then you got Minnesota, Baltimore, Chicago, who are no more than a game and a half back of Toronto. So you could see an AL Central team sneak into that third wild card spot. I still think only one team from the AL Central gets in. I think Seattle gets in, and you lock up the last 2 spots with an AL East team. Now, how you stack that, how you put those in the standings, you could have it one way this week, and you could flip it the next week. Could do a little head thing right there.
Yep, totally.
What do you think, Chris? Do you think AL Central team can sneak in
No.
a wild card spot?
No. They well, I mean they could in theory. I forgot Minnesota's still hanging in out there. So yeah, they definitely could. It's going to come down to that Tampa caught fire again. They started falling off and then they caught fire again. But once again, Toronto's at that, better run differential than people ahead of them, but have a worse record. So it's going to come down to scheduling, who's playing the harder schedule down the stretch. Let me check Fangraphs playoff odds. That should tell me who's got the hardest. Okay. So in the AL Central, the White Sox have the easiest strength of schedule left, followed by the Guardians, and then the Twins. It's all pretty close. Blue Jays have have the second easiest behind the White Sox as far as those teams go. Mariners have a super easy schedule down the stretch at like a 470 winning percentage strength of schedule. So just based off of this, man, the Rays have the hardest team. So yeah, the AL Central could definitely sneak one in there. I'm going to change my tune from absolutely not to maybe.
It's a possibility. I mean, we got 6 weeks left in the season, so anything can happen.
Right, definitely. anything can happen. Well, Adam, another week in the books, another week closer to October and playoff baseball. We are going to be here each and every week down the stretch with you, letting you know all of the weekend recaps, fun little stories around baseball. And of course, we'll preview each weekend every Wednesday on the Bullpen Podcast at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Mountain Time where I'm at, and then 6 Pacific. So join us live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And until next week, we'll see you later.
Have a good night, everyone.